Welcome back to another edition of Real Questions to Fake Answers. No, real answers to fake questions. Sorry, I didn't even do that on purpose. Very special episode today. Not only is it number 7, which makes us still the longest running fake question series on YouTube, but we've had both of these questions were actually submitted by real fake viewers of the YouTube channel. So, I mean, that is unprecedented in fake questions series on YouTube to have actually real fake questions. So, I'm sure, all the fans are going to love this number 7. I mean, this series, it hasn't been viewed by hundreds. It hasn't been viewed by thousands of people. It's been viewed by tens of people. I mean, there is obviously a need for real answers to fake questions. So let's just get started. Question number 1. What foam pad would you use in a 2,500 meter above sea level with gravel and rocks and a little grass? Question is from Patty Reston. Well, Patty, when I looked at that question, I thought to myself, I can't even answer it because I'm from Connecticut and I don't get out of this section of the country much, and so really don't camp much at 2,500 meters or above, which if you take 3.27 and multiply it times 2,500, that's how many feet for those of you that are in this country, and you can do the math in your head. I have gone above tree line a bunch hiking and during backpacking trips. I think I've only slept maybe 2 or 3 nights actually above tree line, and when I started remembering those trips, I actually thought, I still have the pad that I slept in 2,500 feet above sea level with rocks and gravel and a very little grass. This is the actual foam pad that like 25 years ago I used in Wyoming, took it out for another year in Montana. This also was used in the Badlands in the backcountry, which is not 2,500 feet, but it is gravelly and rocky and very little grass and just hard. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. And this was my very first sleeping pad ever. So maybe my first camping trip when I was like 11, my parents bought this for me, and somehow I ended up with 2 identical ones. And these have been used by my girls, they've been used by my wife and myself. And while I don't have a lot of experience above tree line, I do have experience in a lot of state parks and forests, which is hard, gravelly dirt, kind of like above tree line. And this is the pad of choice that we always put down first and sometimes just last. That's all we use. One of my daughters actually, I've often found her using both of the pads together at the state campgrounds. Obviously it's cheap, indestructible, and if anybody tells you you need one of those $100 and something Thermarests, go use the foam pad. It works just perfectly well and will never pop. And I know Thermarests don't pop a lot, but I've been on 3 trips where I've had my Thermarest pop. On one section hike of the AT, it literally popped on the first day. I had a patch. It popped the next day. I got a hole. I had a patch, and luckily that was it because I only had the 2 patches. And I had another one that sprung a leak on the seam, and so somehow I wasn't able to repair it. So that one was pretty much flat for the rest of the trip. So foam pad. That's all I got. Not a above tree line expert. And now for the second fake question. What was your first backpacking trip like? From Jonathan Wansapak. Well, Jonathan, this was, I thought, going to be a simple question, and then all of a sudden I realized I don't even remember. The first trip that I have in my memory was from when I was 21. So I was like, well, that's strange. And I'm all of a sudden realizing that that might have been my first real official backpacking trip, like multiple days where you're going from one spot to another. I did plenty of camping before that, pull up the car, hike in, put your stuff down, go out for the day or whatever. But I think when I was 21, that was the first official trip, and that was a section hike of the Appalachian Trail. And actually that's the one where my air mattress popped on. And it was a 5-day trip, so it was like a Monday afternoon to Friday morning. And my memory of it is that it rained Monday, it rained Tuesday, it rained Wednesday, it rained Thursday morning. And it was just every day we were wet. And the other thing that sticks out in my mind is that it rained every day, but there was no water anywhere on the trail. It was so dry. None of the rain was like heavy and washing down off the mountains. And so we really struggled finding water. 2 places, it still sticks out in my mind. We went off the trail into a little town and we found a cemetery. And there was a sprinkler on in the cemetery, so I all kind of ran into the cemetery through the graves, stopped the sprinkler, filled our bottles, and ran off again. and then another swamp that we took water from. You can just see the mosquito larvae in it. And we were using, I forgot what it's called, but it was a little, if you've been hiking for a while, you know what I'm talking about. It was a dark glass iodine jar, and the crystals were kind of in the bottom, and you would pour some into the water to sterilize it, and then you'd fill it up with water, be ready for the next time. So we were just drinking down all that stuff from the swamp water that we were finding. And if that hike taught me anything, it was really that I love to embrace the suck of backpacking. And I know you probably heard that expression that you got to embrace the suck. And I can remember that I got advice from a thru hiker once. I was reading his book, and he said, don't go out and hike when it's sunny. Don't go out and hike when it's beautiful temperature. If you want to really train and see if you got what it's made to go on the AT, to go out when it's pouring out, go out when it's snowing, go out when it's freezing. And if you can embrace the suck on those days, you know you're going to do all right on the trail during those days when it's raining, and especially obviously when it's beautiful sunshine. So I want to send out a big thank you to the fake viewers who sent those questions. I really appreciate the help, and I will see you for episode 8, hopefully maybe next week or the week after that. If you have any fake questions from a fake viewer that you'd like to submit, please leave them in the comments below or send them to me. And I think that's it. All right, till next time.